Hello and welcome to this Linux tutorial for how to install Photoshop CS2 on your Linux machine. This is Ubuntu or Xubuntu 14.04 LTS, which after installing Wine and a couple of components can run Photoshop almost natively. Now I am a graphic designer and a student, and I'm always looking for ways to subsidize the cost of my schooling and of my work, of course. And recently, Adobe has announced that they're going to make all CS2 products completely free to download and install. This because of a server issue which will no longer allow them to activate or to run activation checks on these products anymore. Now, I also think this is a little bit of a lost leader situation. However, they do disclaim that you're supposed to already own the products, but there's no way for them to check it, and they're offering it for free, so make of that what you will and choose your own morals. Anyway, as someone who is a little bit on the broke side, I have no qualms about installing this software, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it really easily. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure your system's all up to date, okay? And once it's all up to date, then open up a terminal window and type in the following command. Every command that I type, every link that I offer will also be below in the description. So we're going to type in sudo apt-get install wine. It's going to ask you for your password, so enter that in. Once it's done, it's going to ask you, do you want to install these things? Hit yes, and let it run. This can take a couple seconds. So I will be back with you once it is finished installing. So when you get to this screen, you have to just quickly hit the tab key and then enter. Tab over again to yes, and hit enter again. That's the one little weird thing about Wine that no one will tell you in the install instructions. Finished installing, we should have a new folder or just a bunch of new programs listed in your applications list. Because I'm running Ubuntu, I have the whisker menu, and it gives me a whole new folder called Wine, installs a bunch of new things. This is the folder where all the programs we install will be kept. And then the most important thing we need here is winetricks. So winetricks is a program which helps us to install a couple components, allowing us to run certain types of software. Now you can get these components and plugins through winetricks, the GUI, or you can do it through the terminal. Now I recommend doing it through the terminal because it's faster, but if something goes wrong, you can always open up the software and get it manually. I'm going to quickly show you how to do both ways. So while winetricks is opening, you can type in winetricks, corefonts, vcrun6. These are the two things we need to get from winetricks directly. There's one other thing we're going to get in a minute through the website. Then here, let that run. This process does not take nearly as long as it does to install Wine itself. These are just a couple of plugins and things that Photoshop needs in order to run successfully. While that's working, I'll show you exactly how you can do it through the GUI. This is the winetricks GUI, so you would click on select the default winetricks. Install a Windows DLL or component. And then you would go down and you would find vcrun6 and install it. Once it's finished, you go back and you do install a font. And then you find corefonts, hit OK. It's the same exact process. Now, in order to install vcrun, you're going to get this menu, and the menu is going to be in German. You don't need to read it, just click Ja. It just happens to be fitting for this tutorial as I'm recording this video from Germany, where I live. So, that's done. Once you get back to this box here, you know you're finished. So now we have 2 out of the 3 most important things you need. Now you can close the terminal now, we don't need it anymore for now. And we're going to go to a new website called wiki.winehq.org/gecko. Gecko with a capital G. And then we're going to input these 3 commands here. Oh, I guess I'm a liar. We do actually need the terminal. Sorry about that. So we'll do a new terminal window and we'll paste in each of these commands. First, we have to download the installer for Gecko. We're going to make a directory to put Gecko into. Then we're going to move the component from where we've downloaded it into where it needs to be. Technically, this part you could also do manually by moving things through the GUI, but I personally find that it's a lot easier if you do it through the terminal. The more you learn of the scary, big, confusing labyrinth terminal, the easier your time in Linux will be. So the first step is finished. Next, we're going to make our directory. Enter in your password. That's the quickest version. Now we're just going to move the file that we downloaded and throw it in. Now it is in now it's going to be in user share /wine/gecko, which is where we need it to be. Now we have everything we need in order to download Photoshop and get it working. So you're going to go to this link here. The link will be down in the description box. You're going to make an Adobe account. I'm going to enter mine in really fast. Now I'm here. Again, you can excuse the fact that this is in German. All you have to do is just hit on the little I accept button and then choose your language. In this case, my native language is English. However, I could also choose the German if I wanted to. And I'm going to download this folder, this file right here, Photoshop CS2 English.exe. Make sure you only get the Windows version. Do not get the Mac version. I've already downloaded it in advance, but keep that website open because we're going to need the serial number in a minute. So next, right-click on the folder, click Open with Wine Windows Program Loader. This will pop up. This is the extractor for the installer. Once this extracts the installer and all needed files, it will open the installer and we'll be ready to go. I've tested this method out with Photoshop and InDesign, and with Photoshop it seems to work really well. It's really quick. It's a very small file in the grand scheme of things. It also works extremely well once it's all finished and installed. However, InDesign is a much bigger file, takes a lot longer to extract itself and to install. It also seems to be a little bit more buggy than Photoshop does. It's still usable, but I don't know if I would completely rely on it. This is the easy part. You're just going to click, click, click through each and every option. Everything's going to be left to the default. Now this, put in whatever you want. For the serial number, go back to this website where you got the program and copy and paste the appropriate serial number for whatever program you're trying to install. I can save you some time now and just tell you, Illustrator's not going to work. Blah, blah, blah. It's very quick, very easy, and very painless. Not a lot of crap left behind. It's all very seamless and easy. So to go back to Illustrator really quick while this installs, Illustrator will install perfectly. It will take the serial number without question. However, it will not open. Whether or not it needs other plugins and drivers to work, I honestly could not tell you, but you're welcome to experiment with it. However, Photoshop is the only one that I know that works 100% right out of the box. InDesign works most of the time. Illustrator, based on this method, will work 0% of the time. So just keep that in mind. Okay, it's done. You do not need to read the README file. Just click Finish and you're done. Go up to wherever your applications are installed. For example, if you're in elementary, it's just going to be right in all of your other applications for Whisker. Or maybe also with Linux Mint using Cinnamon. You're also going to have a folder like I do for Wine, and then a folder for the programs we install in Wine. And there it is, Adobe Photoshop and Image Ready. Let's open up Photoshop and I can show you guys that it definitely does work. The first boot for this program will be slower than every other time you try to run it, but so be it. Now, I learned how to use Photoshop back before Creative Suite even existed, back when it was still being marked with numbers. And they didn't make a whole lot of progress through CS2. This, again, just more that refining of the features. Running CS2 now that I'm used to using CS6 and CS5 on my Mac, it reminds me of some really good times learning how to use the program, and it definitely hasn't changed very much over the years. It's just got a whole lot prettier. So, do not register. I even forgot that this was a thing back in the day. I don't want to ever see it again, though. And here we are. We are now in Photoshop. Automatically check updates every time. Just uncheck that, because you're not going to get support for this old program anyway. So, here it is. It's all installed. It's pretty. We're going to do a new document. And I can show you guys. It definitely does work. It also seems to work just fine with the Wacom tablet, as most Ubuntu distributions now by default come with Wacom tablet drivers right out of the box. That does not apply to Cintiq. I have no idea if the Cintiq actually works. It could, but I can confirm that the Intuos, the new line of Intuos tablets, do work out of the box with Linux 14.04. So, that was my tutorial on how to get Photoshop CS2 working, and this is a great option for any graphic design student who just can't afford Photoshop right now. It's a very expensive program if your school doesn't offer it, which mine does not offer it. It's a very expensive license, and in my opinion, it's not really worth the price tag that Adobe likes to charge for it, in my personal opinion, especially after the lack of advancements they've made in the past 10 years. This program is relatively exactly the same as it is now, with a couple features missing. For instance, you're not going to get content-aware fill, but big deal. Generally speaking, for all beginner to intermediate and even most advanced users, Photoshop CS2 is going to be just fine for you. And if you are on a budget and you are running Linux, this is the option for you. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments box below. And I will see you guys on the next Linux or Mac or even Windows Phone tutorial. Who knows what I'll do next. Have a good one.